Everybody should start filing in pretty soon. Alrighty. Hey, good evening, everyone. Mrs. Garsee, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm just LinMarie. I'm doing awesome.
Glad to have you back. You've been quite on the you've been quite in the spotlight the last few days, and everybody's been asking. We want to hear from Lynn Marie again, and I'm glad you could join us. We got a few things to talk about, and a little bit later we got a surprise for everybody. And yeah, let's put some of these on here. Welcome back. Hi, Maddie and everyone. Hello, everyone. Cindy, Vicky, Valley Central, Valley Girl, Trish, Dina, Sammy. Hi, everyone. Um, just a little warning for everybody. There will be probably some shenanigans, which we got plans to take care of. Ignore those. We're going to focus on LinMarie Garsee and later on another guest that we're going to have pretty soon. So, a lot's been going on the last couple days for Melissa. I mean, it seems like there's some. I don't want to
It's
jinx it.
exciting.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but it sounds like definitely something positive going on. Yeah. Whoops, wrong one. There we go.
Yeah. Listening to the legislators this morning, I went outside of a meeting so that I could listen to it, and it's the rally's getting bigger, and it's just it's awesome.
Yeah, and when I did speak with John earlier today, and he was very optimistic. Of course, he was being, not trying to go overboard because
Sure.
nothing is 100%. But we did do that video yesterday. The DA, Mr. Science, walked out of the courthouse going to lunch, presumably, and he was able to bump into him. He didn't attack him. He just bumped into him and said, "Hey, let me take your ear for a minute." And he was able
I
to.
thought he was so professional with the way he did that. He was so it was like he was true.
Yeah.
He wasn't being obnoxious in any manner, and I was just really proud of the way that he presented the information to Mr. Sines.
Yeah, he did. And Mr. Science said he was gonna look at the documents, and uh, you know, at, right now
Hey, Allie.
he's on the spot, and I don't see a reason why he wouldn't look at documents, or And I know there's some activity happening tomorrow too, but I don't want to. Don't Nothing is confirmed, so I'm not going to say any of that. So we wanted to talk about one thing we were wondering, besides just shooting the breeze and lightly going over this, is we're going to discuss what the process is of getting a jury. They pick
Correct.
a jury, and then what goes on during that whole jury process. And we can start on that. I know some people are, as the questions come in, guys, we're going to pop those up there. And let's see. Okay. Well, let's just get to that. And then I got another topic I want to hit briefly, just briefly, because it's not worth a huge mention. So everybody says, "Oh man, I got to go to jury duty. I got the thing in the mail, and I got to make a phone call and set up." So they go there, and wherever you want to go, what is the process like? I don't know if we need to go from the very beginning, but we'll start it wherever you want to.
Well, one of the things I'm going to tell folks is that going to jury service is a civic duty. Just think if you were the defendant and you were a minority and you got nothing but opposite your race on a jury. And we have trouble picking juries everywhere because um, we have a lack of minorities that actually come for jury duty. And so, we're supposed to be judged by a jury of our peers. And if you're Hispanic or if you're Black, you want Black or Hispanic or Asian on your on your jury panel. But we have a real hard time of getting those. It's like we picked a jury here last month, and we 480 something summonses were sent out, and only 83 people showed up. It's
Whoa.
like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
But
and
you
why
gotta
do you
put,
think that is? Is the $6 thing an issue? Is it the $15 if they get chosen? Is it
I
just
think
not
it's
worth their time?
apathy. I think a lot of it is apathy, and I think a lot of it is the money. They don't want to lose, time off from work. Um, at least show up.
Yeah.
Now there's disqualifications. Like if you're not 18 years or older, if you don't reside in the county, if you're not a U.S. citizen, um, if you're not of sound mind or good moral character, hint, um, if you cannot read or write. And in the Valley, what I've seen is that you need to read or write English. Even though the Valley is, majority Spanish speaking, you still need to read or write English. And you can be exempt if you've served on at least 6 days on a jury in the preceding 3 months.
Mm.
You cannot if you've been convicted of any kind of misdemeanor, theft, or felony, and or if you're under indictment or other legal accusations right now. You are totally exempt from jury duty. But there's other exemptions. If you're over 70 years old, if you have legal custody of a child or children under the age of 12, and your jury service requires you to leave the child somewhere, if you're a student of a public or private secondary school, if you're enrolled and attend an institute of higher education, if you're an officer or employee of the Senate, the House of Representatives, or any department, commission, board, office, or other agency in the legislative branch of the state government, if you are the primary caretaker of a person who's an invalid or unable to take care of themselves, and if you've served in a municipal court in the last 24 months or a district court, and if you're a member of the United States military on active duty or deployment.
Yeah.
One of the things that people try to get by is they say, well, I own my own company, so I can't do this. Well, that's kind of tough because that's not an exemption. Like you said, you'll get a summons. And once you get a summons, you'll come into what they call a jury pool. That's where everybody that got the summons comes together. Now, some counties do it a little bit different. They divide those pools up into ever how many courts are needed at time. And you're all given a number. Once you're sat in there, basically all of these exemptions are gone over with by the judge. Now, keep it in mind, I don't ask questions. I have questions that the attorneys ask. And so I kind of keep my little cheat sheet for them in case they come to me and say, did I leave anything out? But you're put into, you're lined up according to your number. And they do ask about exemptions, afterwards or before. And the prosecution usually starts out, that we have this case against John Doe, who is the defendant, and they can't get into specifics of the case. They can't get into the dynamics of the case, but they will they'll kind of skirt it, so to speak.
Okay.
They will ask all of their questions. Usually the judge gives them 45 minutes to do their side of the voir dire, and then it's the defense's side. And we ask questions like, are you familiar with anyone at either the prosecution or the defense table? Have you heard anything about our defendant in the media?
Yeah.
And I want to say this right now. I have always told my defendants, stay off of social media if you are coming to court, if you're on parole or if you're on probation. Even though you think that it's deleted on Facebook, it's never deleted. It's always there.
Yeah.
And that we'll find it, or the state will find it, and it's going to be used against you.
So if somebody says, nope, I've never seen that person ever in my life, but then somebody finds out, oh, you know what, that the person is lying, that juror is lying, or somehow that would come to light.
Well, when you sign that piece of paper, I think it says under perjury of law.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can be held liable for that.
Yeah. So if you're going to jury duty, and if you know who the players are, and even if it's social media, if they interact with somebody on social media, you have to say, well, I'm familiar with them, right? Because I've seen them on social media.
Absolutely. And, we have so many people that lie to get on a jury that lies to get off of the jury. So you have to really kind of watch. That's one of the things that I sit back and I watch body languages a lot.
Yeah.
I watch for the smirks. I watch for the grins. I watch for the sighs. I watch for the eyes rolling back and, different things like that. So you'll find, and especially in your larger trials, your real high profile, they'll even have a jury consultant also there. It just is, but there's just a myriad of questions that you're asking. One of the things that if you have any kind of felony, until you're completely off of paper and you can vote, if you're on parole or probation and you can vote, then you can do jury duty. And that's probably one of the questions that's asked is, are you on felony or whatever?
Yeah.
One of the biggest questions that we try to ask is how many of you think that you can be a fair and impartial juror to this defendant?
Yeah.
Because when a defendant is sitting right there during jury voir dire, that defendant's innocent.
Right.
No, any kind of negative information has been furnished about them. Nothing about the case has been furnished about them. One of the other things that I like to ask or have the attorneys ask is, just because there's an indictment against our defendant, do you think that our defendant is guilty as he sits right here?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe the people say, yeah, cops don't lie. I mean,
wow.
They say it all the time. Yeah, because why would they be sitting there? A cop don't lie.
That's incredible. Let me ask you. I wanted to ask you this. So if somebody does happen to lie on that day, I don't have any felonies. I've never been in trouble or that kind of thing. What's the percentage of the time? Do they ever go back and actually, well, let's see if these people were being truthful and just do a quick perusing of the jurors that were selected to see if they have been convicted?
Yes,
or
I do that. Yes.
Yeah.
After we choose the jurors, unfortunately, I do go back and start, background checking and things like that. I want to know who that juror is. After the voir dire, and that's a good question, because after the voir dire, we get the exemption, what we call strikes. We're given a list of the jurors in the number in which they're there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the attorneys will go to the bench where the judge sits, and they'll call the jurors up that want to be excluded for exemptions. Then we do what we call strike a juror for cause. Maybe a juror has said that they were involved. Let's just say it was a sex case.
Mm.
And a juror or potential juror may have said, well, I was raped whenever I was younger, so I really don't know anything about this. And I really cannot honestly sit in judgment of somebody that is accused of this because I was raped. And there's no way that you're going to change that person's mind. Well, that's called being struck by cause.
Oh, I see.
Um, he might come up and say, "Hey, I'm a cop, and I'm just no, I can't buy what he's saying." One of the biggest ones we have are guards at TDCJ that come up and say, "Nope, I know just his kind that's in my prison, and there's no way in God's green earth that I could even possibly be a good juror." Those are some reasons to strike for cause.
Yeah.
So then
So
after
yeah, go
after
ahead.
all of that, the district clerk will go in and take all of these names that were struck for exemption and struck for cause. Then we get a clean sheet, and that's given to the defense and to the prosecution. And then we are each given 10 strikes,
Mm.
meaning I didn't like these 10 people, and the prosecution will do, I didn't like these 10 people. And then we get like 10 minutes basically to go through and make our choices. Then we give the paper back to the district clerk. They go in and they pull anybody that we struck, anybody that prosecution struck, and the first 12 left, those are our jurors. Then the next two, those are our alternates.
Alternates, yeah.
Yeah. And so then, the case starts up. But
And
it's a
how long
process and it's boring.
how long have you been doing this process?
29 years.
Yeah. So you know what the hell you're talking about.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably pick 1 to 3 juries a month. So yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is that if you ever sit on a jury, um, use your common sense. Use reasonable doubt. You've got to consider that. The law says that. Um, if there's even just that much of a something that
Mm.
just it kind of bothers you, it's like, that just didn't make sense. That's reasonable doubt.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: how, in your experience, how prevalent is jury tampering? You see it on TV. The defendant or the mobsters or whatever are trying to they bribe the jurors or they entice them or whatever. And even if not to that extreme, but how often is there something like that that goes on?
I would really say it's pretty rare. Someone has to be pretty dadgum desperate to even think of doing jury tampering, because that's an illegal offense.
Yeah,
They could be charged with that.
yeah. And what else is there besides witness tampering, or does that just cover everything? I mean,
I don't understand your question.
what else can they do? What else could a defendant do to a jury that would be considered illegal?
They could be bribing someone. They could be paying someone. They could be threatening someone.
Yeah, that sounds like that could be that would not be good to do something like that. Scarlett's got a question for us. If a jury cannot be formed, how many times does the court try before transferring a case elsewhere?
Um, that depends on the counties. It depends on the judge, and if usually it's a defense that will ask for a change of venue, and I wouldn't so much say that a jury couldn't be formed before there's a transfer. If there is a possibility or a feasibility
Mm-hmm.
that there can't be a jury formed, then I could see and probably would figure that a judge would just say, let's do a change of venue.
Yeah, and they'll just go to a different within the district, presumably, another court.
Not really.
No.
We have some I've had death penalty cases and capital cases that we have transferred, like from Jefferson County all the way to Bastrop,
Hmm.
or
Oh, wow.
to Williamson County,
Yeah.
or so it doesn't necessarily have to be a connecting county. Down in y'all's area, I have seen it being transferred to Corpus Christi to get them out of basically out of the valley, but still within the district.
Yeah. Interesting. We got a question here from Christopher. Valid question. But what if the person attempting jury tampering is so arrogant? Well, that they think they can get away with it. Well, I mean, whether they think they can or not, I imagine that's beside the point.
The arrogance at some point will catch up with them. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
You just don't continue to be doing illegal things without it finally catching up with you at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. And that okay, so something like that, or something funky going on with the jury, whether it's a tampering of any kind or whatever, that'll cause the entire jury pool to get wiped out.
Oh, that busted.
Yeah.
That poof. We start all over. Here we go again.
Start over from the very beginning. Start with the big pool in the bottom floor.
Yes.
300 people, and now start picking people. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's talk about time consuming and a waste.
Well, it's a waste of tax dollars, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good at all.
I mean, I pay taxes down there in y'all's county too, and mine jumped about $1,400 this last year, and so yeah, my tax dollars are being wasted if that ever occurs.
Yeah. So, jury's there. The jury listens to the case, and closing arguments are done. First, the opening arguments, and then the back and forth of the action, the meat of the trial. And then the closing arguments are done. And now the judge says, you guys got to get to work now. And he tells them the rules, right?
Well, he'll read the rules, and he'll also read the indictment, and he'll also read what they call a jury charge. And the jury charge is something that is made between the prosecution and the defense of certain jargon and because let's just say someone is charged with murder, but the prosecution agrees with the defense that they could put what they call a lesser included into the jury charge. Instead of it being murder, they can have it as an assault, or they can have it as an attempted murder. Anything a lesser included.
Right.
And now, even though the jury, let's back up. The defense has a right to say prior to a trial if they want a trial by jury or a trial by judge. And if they go directly to the judge will pronounce what he, guilty or not guilty, and he will also admonish or give the sentencing. Now, if they choose, they have another choice. If they choose a trial by jury, they can also go to the judge for punishment.
Interesting. So it's not always the jury that the punishment part goes to, huh?
No. Yeah. No. That's a choice that the defendant has. And, I've had them ask me before, well, what do you think? That's not my job. That's your decision, your choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine a defense attorney wouldn't say, whoa, don't stick me with that. This is something you decide.
Your choice, period.
Yeah. And this is something that's decided before way at the beginning, obviously.
It has to be, some courts require it 72 hours prior to court. Some require it before a jury is ever brought in, or some require it 10 days ahead of time.
Hey, Nadia, welcome. I think that in order for someone to have a fair trial, they would have to be moved out. In this case, so in something that is a high profile, do they ever do they ever take them out of state if it's some kind of high profile case? No. And sometimes it's just, this is it, and that's going to happen here, regardless of whatever. We're as far away as we can get from the home venue or whatever.
That's a total decision of the judge. That's totally at his discretion.
Yeah.
Or her.
Yeah. Interesting, but it's never out of state. It's got to stay within the state.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even if it's a change of venue to another county, you got to take into consideration your tax dollars are still doing that.
Yeah.
It's not like that we can just because okay, I had one that was in Anahuac, Texas, which is just outside of Houston, Chambers County, and we got transferred to Galveston County. And when we went to Galveston County, I think the prosecution had everybody from the district clerk's office. They had everybody from the district attorney's office. The judge got a hotel. I got a hotel. Two expert witnesses got a hotel. The attorney got a hotel. So you were looking at about 35 rooms at a hotel for a week and a half.
Wow.
Okay, and you
Holy
think
cow.
how expensive Galveston is.
Yeah.
Okay, then you got meals.
Yeah. Per diem for meals, or how does that? Yeah. Whether they give you they don't give a per diem, they just provide the meals.
No,
right?
no. For us, we have to pay for it. We pay for all of our expenses up front. Then we turn that in on our invoices and hope that we get paid in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I can imagine that could be a while sometimes.
Yes. I have one county that's anywhere from 190 or 180 days up to 240.
Oh man. That's just wrong.
Harris County is up to 2 months to 5 months.
That's crazy. Is it just because they're so backed up, or is it just red tape?
What's the max for a nonviolent crime? I would need to know what the nonviolent crime is.
Yeah, it would depend on that.
It could be a state jail felony up to 2 years. It could be, locally in the county jail for a nonviolent. It would depend on what the actual charge is.
Yeah. So the trial happens and the judge reads the rules. Now the jury's got to go and do their deliberating. And
that's when the wait comes.
Yeah.
I actually had a jury come back in 12 minutes. And I was like, dadgum, how did they even read the jury charge that fast? But yeah, I had one come back in 12 minutes, and then I had one that it took 8 days. And you just sit there.
You have to be in the courtroom. Well, the legal team does, right?
Correct. Yes.
You have to be
there.
And the
defendant.
You got to be there if it's whatever, the 8 or 10 hours a day, whatever it is.
You got it.
Wow. And that's so there is no magic combination like, oh, they came back quick, that means the guilty, or oh, they came back quick, that means not guilty. It's not always that cut and dry, is it?
No. But I want to tell you something. I have learned that when the jury comes back in, if they don't look the defendant in the eye, it's a guilty verdict.
Interesting.
I would say that 98, 99% of the time, yeah.
So, all right, let me ask you this. If you had, there's a lot of what are called courtroom dramas or courtroom movies. What are some of your favorites?
I had a father that jumped over the bench and was starting to choke our client one time because he was accused of sexually assaulting his daughter. We had one in Beaumont where the defendant was getting he was the defendant in a civil case. Mm-hmm. And he decided he'd wait until they were coming up the sidewalk, and he was a sheriff's officer, as a matter of fact, and he shot and killed the wife, her mother, and her daughter.
Yowza.
Right there on the courthouse steps.
So these are all real things that have happened.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I was talking about movies. Like, what kind of movie is a favorite courtroom movie of yours? if there
Um,
is one. The one classic I like is 12 Angry Men.
yeah, I remember that one. Um, I really don't have a favorite. Now, uh, we get a kick out of watching NCIS.
Yeah.
Um,
Law and Order, maybe.
yes, Law and Order.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't watch a lot of TV. I mean, I live it, so I just don't watch it. Um, I don't watch anything that has to do with a trial or cases like that. Um,
That was a good one. A Time to Kill.
yes, that was a good movie.
A Few Good Men.
Yes,
I like Runaway Jury. Runaway Jury was good.
that was a good one. I read that book. But like I said, when you live it every day, when you're in that courtroom, almost every day, you don't want to sit.
Yeah. I can imagine. So, are you one to watch one of these programs and then go, "Nah, that's not how they do that," or "Nah, that's not how they do that"? I can imagine.
Yes, yes. In fact, what two of my assistants sometimes they'll call me real quick and say, "Are you watching this?" I was like, "No, why?" She goes, "I know that's a lie."
Oh, that's got to be fun watching one of those with you.
Yeah, she's like, that's not the way we do this.
Yeah. So the jury. I mean, I know a lot of people say it's so easy, like beyond a reasonable doubt. I mean, if there's something that's funky, you're supposed to go. You're supposed to discuss that funkiness, and if there's no doubt at all, that's when you're supposed to do. Yes, guilty.
Okay, I want y'all had. I don't know if you still have it down there, but you had horse races at one time.
Yes.
Okay, and I want you to think about two horses coming into the finish line neck to neck, and I mean they are like neck to neck, and all of a sudden it looks like a tie.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's reasonable doubt as to which one really won.
Okay.
But when they do the still shot, let's say horse on the left side, it just barely had its nose
Yeah.
a little bit further out than the horse on the right side.
Yeah.
That's evidence. The other, with your naked eye, is reasonable doubt.
A photo finish. Yeah, that's what you
That's
call a
it.
photo
There you
finish.
go.
So it's a matter of either who had it better or who presented it better.
You just got to use reasonable doubt. That's the law. If it don't smell like fried chicken, if it don't taste like fried chicken, it ain't gonna be fried chicken.
Yeah.
That's reasonable doubt.
So I mean, so a jury gets deadlocked, and explain to everybody what deadlock means.
That's when the jurors cannot come to a unanimous decision, or they like it would be 6 for this and 6 for that, or 5 and 7, or some odd number. And when they're deadlocked, they can tell the judge, we are deadlocked. Now sometimes the judge say, too bad, go back in there and do it again.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, after it's done, like the jury's come back 2 or 3 times, then the judge will declare a mistrial and you start all over again.
Yeah. Mistrial. Wow. So juries' verdicts have to be an example 12-0. It's got to be all
No.
in agreement. No.
um Depends. But yes, it does. But that's why. Okay, here's another thing that I really want to stress.
Okay.
When you're back there deliberating and you know what's in your mind, don't let some bully tell you, well, that's just stupid. You're just holding us up. This, that. You stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Don't let somebody in that jury pool or in that jury room sway you from what you honestly believe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why some of these movies are great to watch. Like I said, my favorite was 12 Angry Men, and this kid is on trial, and there was a knife involved, and they thought it was a rare knife, and one of the jurors had tickets to a baseball game in his pocket, and he just wanted to finish so he can go and make it to that baseball
All
game.
the time.
And
We've even had them say, "Hey, y'all need to hurry up. I have vacation to go to." Because a lot of times we'll stay afterwards and pull a jury, as to what brought you to the decision that you came to. Did you hear anyone, forcing or coercing or pressuring you into making that decision? What was it about the trial that, was a good thing or a bad thing? Um, what did you think of the defense team? Is there anything that the defense could have told you, given you, or said to you that would have changed your mind about your decision?
Yeah. And how often are they like honestly forthcoming and say, yeah, you know what, dude, why this so and so was trying to make us hurry up?
It's happened. I would say 2 out of 5.
Oh wow, that's actually a lot.
Yes. And they may not come forward right then.
Yeah.
But I have gotten phone calls or an email 6 months to a year afterwards. I just can't live with it. I just, I have to be honest with you. This happened, and I'm just not a happy camper. But then again, even if they come forward with something like that, that does not mean that it's an appellate issue, because, the CCA says that, that even though they might have made that decision, it would not have changed the outcome of the trial.
Yeah, okay, I see. And that makes sense.
I mean, it has to be something really, 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 flagrant.
Yeah. And you think if it was so flagrant that they would just come out with it like right away, or
no, they're scared to a lot of times.
Yeah.
They don't want to be anywhere near that courthouse or the person who bullied them whenever they come out with that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that crap happened. Linda Lou, how is the head juror picked, or a grand jury? Head juror, is that what you call the foreman?
The foreman, yes.
Yeah.
The foreman is chosen amongst the jurors that are there. And on a grand jury, the district attorney's office picks who they want. Okay, it could either be the district attorney's office or a judge, depends on the county, picks who they want on the grand jury.
And just for a regular jury, the jurors decide themselves who wants to be the head honcho.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in the middle of that, and it's fascinating. Sometimes, I always want to be the foreman, but most of the time I've watched, and it's like, dude's not even he's not taking charge. He's not trying to be a leader. He's just he's just like a juror, like a normal juror, and he was like letting other people run it.
I don't think I'd ever want to be a jury foreman, because that's your name that goes on that document that goes in that file.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be okay with that. Because in my case, I'd make sure crap was being done, and we'll have no nonsense. You got tickets to a game? Yeah, too bad. Sit your ass down and let's hash this out. And that's how I would be. Obviously, read to a reasonable point. And I think that's important to have somebody who's gonna want to get things done right. And it's sad when the intimidation goes on.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I hate seeing a wimpy jury foreman.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Because I what goes through my mind is like, blah.
Yeah. Scarlett's asking, can a defendant's social media activity in this day and age of social media during jury selection be used against them, like showing their character or showing their connections or that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If a district attorney finds out or a judge finds out, especially if a judge has admonished the defendant, then yeah, there could be big repercussions.
Like they do many times. They'll say, all right, don't talk to anybody about this. Your counsel should have told you. Don't get online. Don't talk about your case, and don't anything. Don't talk to the jurors, obviously. And so that's
I mean, I even won't go to a bathroom while we're picking a jury for fear that I could be accused of something that I've not done, something inappropriate. You can't even tell a juror good morning. You can't say good afternoon. You can't. I mean, you just don't. And so I've been known to go all the way from the 19th floor down to the first floor to find a restroom so that there's no anywhere close that there was any impropriety. So I darn sure wouldn't get on any social media and start talking about it.
yeah. I mean, if you're saying you don't even want to go to the bathroom for fear of bumping into somebody, social media is like, I mean,
Wrong answer.
yeah, it's wow. Um, so, but it's my freedom of speech. I want to get online and talk about certain things.
There comes a point where freedom of speech needs to be close your mouth.
Yeah. So yeah, not everybody. Anyway, does it only have to be talking about their case?
Yes, they would have to be referring to their case, or they would have to be referring to a judge or someone in the courtroom. I had someone at one time was making fun of the bailiff because he had a gut hanging over his tool belt. She referred to it as his chicken shed.
Oh man.
So that kind of got her in hot water.
Yeah. So what I want to bring up, and we're not going to hit on this for a long time, but I just want to touch on it. And we won't even have to mention any names. You had some conversation with someone online debating a particular legal issue, a legal act, which was the Michael Mortenson Act.
Right.
And the question was, well, why wasn't that used in Melissa Lucio's case? Why didn't they use that? And the answer was simple.
Michael Morton came out in 2014, and Melissa's case was 2008.
Yep.
And during any state or federal writ that was written, Michael Morton wasn't even involved, and even the Michael Morton Act is not applicable to Melissa's case. Even the writs that were filed afterwards have nothing. Michael Morton has nothing to do with that. It was a mute issue, and I tried to explain that in a very professional manner, and was pretty much blasted that I was not going to come on her page and defame her or defy what she had already told her people.
Yeah.
That was basically it.
And you actually got into a debate, and the conversation was posted, and there was a lot of back and forth. And I mean, it's like me trying to tell a surgeon how to do a surgery. And, I've never been to medical school at all. I'm not about to tell somebody their business. And,
I don't regret having done that, because my fear was that anything that was erroneously said, I don't want it to come back and bite the new team that if Melissa gets out or if she has a new trial, I don't want it to ever come back and bite her. So that's why I tell folks all the time, please, research. Just research. Y'all are smart.
Yeah.
Don't be led around like a pig with a snout.
And it's sad what happened with that conversation, because that person is trying to discredit you now, saying you don't know what you're talking about. And, you're someone who was so involved in that case. I mean, you were so involved. You were hired as an investigator.
On both the state and the federal.
Yes. And besides that, I mean, you know enough about it that you were actually put into that documentary film movie that was
Yep.
made by Sabrina Van Tassel. And
And
so you know what you're talking about. It's not, I'm not, there's nobody that I've talked to, with the exception of Sabrina, but that's just from her investigation. I mean, you know what the heck is going on. And
well, I do. And, one of the questions was asked about, Melissa having the twins in Cameron County. And I
John
wrote,
will be right with you, John. Okay, you can hear me. Yeah, John's standing by there. He'll be with us
hey,
in a minute.
John. And I did not want to bring that up. So I said no, because that wasn't my place. And what we're doing now has nothing to do whether she had another baby or two babies or whatever. Right now we're just wanting to get Melissa out of prison. And if she doesn't be granted full pardon, at least be granted clemency and at least be given a new trial. So that had nothing to do with any of this. And so I said, no.
Yeah.
And whether she did or didn't, it's none of our business.
Yeah.
And to me, that was a privacy thing for Melissa. And if I said it no to protect Melissa, then that's what I said.
Yeah. All right. And joining us now is
hey, John.
John Lucio.
How are you doing, baby?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better.
I understand. How's barber school?
That's
Nothing.
So after barber school.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
That's okay.
So I put everything aside for my mother back in January. Back in January, it was just a huge impact, as I shared with everybody.
Yeah.
I had about 100 and some hours to complete school and do my testing and everything. But of course, in January, we received the execution date.
Yeah.
Which stopped a lot of stuff. It stopped a lot of my training, running, barber school, going to the barber shop. It's just everything, like all of the stuff I had going for me. And I mean, it was an impact. It really was.
Yeah,
okay, remember what we talked about before? You got to take care of you.
Yes, and
you've got to take care of you too, John.
Yes, and I understand that, and I feel like taking care of my mom is taking care of me. So I mean,
okay.
I mean, I had to put everything aside because I wouldn't be able to focus on both. And I mean, going to school would have been just a waste of time, because when I came to graduate and test, I would have probably been like blurred out. I mean, so I have to
get back into it.
Yeah, I can, and it's like I shared with the school as well, because the school is kind of being harsh on me, and they I shared with them and I told them, I mean, school doesn't have an execution date, my mother does, and I mean, I'm gonna put that my priority, and that's what I've done. And I mean, yes, it's been hurtful. I mean, I'm not. It's. I mean, being that when I had came home, I immediately got a job and got on payroll and everything. So I mean, now it's like not attending the school and not being at the barbershop is kind of hurting. So, but I mean, I feel great. Yes, I've had bad weeks and I've had bad days. Some worse than others. Where I couldn't eat and I was just stressed out and just really feeling really low. Like I never felt in my life. But I mean, just hearing
I told you got my phone number.
Yes, but just hearing
24/7.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate you so much.
Well, I've always had your back.
Yes, I know. Thank you. So it's been these past days and this past week has been very amazing.
Yeah, there's a nice feeling going on right now, and I told LinMarie, I said, I don't want to jinx it, or we don't want to get too overly, confident in a certain way, but it just it feels good right now. It feels a good momentum, right?
Yes, it does. Really, really good.
Yeah. When is people all day since the morning, or whatever it was at noon or whatever it was, I've been getting messages. Please tell John we're praying for him. Tell John we're praying for his mom, for Melissa, and that's been coming in all day today.
Yes.
And I didn't tell you at the time. I wanted to, since you said, yeah, I'll come out and say, hey, you know what? let me tell you all that now. You can say what you want to everybody.
Yeah, and I believe that's been impacting my mother's case, the prayers. I believe we strongly believe in the prayer, and I believe there's a bunch of righteous prayer warriors out there praying on the behalf of my mother, and I mean, just her alone. I mean, just her being who she is. I know um, God is gonna give her this opportunity, and she has a lot of work to do for Him.
Yeah. When is the last time you actually were able to speak to your mom?
Um, 3 weeks ago. It was actually about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was because, of course, we have other my aunt and my grandmother, especially my mother's mother, wanted to go see her. So of course we had let that be, and then before that, her friend from Tucson, Arizona, Sandra Jonas. She came. She's been wanting to see my mother, and then my mother's other friend. So my mother had asked for us to let them come. So of course, I mean, whatever she wants, she's gonna get it. But we had planned on going this week, but of course we got these events coming up, so we had to postpone that till next Saturday on the 2nd and the 5th. We will be seeing my mother. So that the 2nd falls on a Saturday and the 5th will fall on a Tuesday. So that's gonna go well.
John, can you explain to the people that because y'all travel over 300 miles that you get a little extra time?
So that used to be the way it was before coronavirus. Coronavirus really made a big deal inside the TDCJ walls, and
Yep.
so right now they're not doing no special visits. They did do it for Sabrina Van Tassel, of course, because she came from France, but there's a limit of 2 people per visit and 2 hours per visit. So I
Yeah.
mean, of course, we cherish those 2 hours, and they fly by. Those are like the fastest 2 hours ever.
I
And we
bet.
travel 7 to 8 hours to get to see her, and of course the travel back 7 to 8 more hours. But I mean,
Yeah.
we enjoy every bit of it.
Okay,
It's
and
worth it.
John, would you also explain to them that there's no contact visit for y'all?
Yes, there is no contact visit. Of course, because of her status, we are not allowed to have any contact visit, um, which is pretty sad. I would love to hold my mother. We would
Yeah.
love to hold her and hug her.
So everything is that you got that glass or
Yes.
whatever that is right in between your heads,
Mhm.
right? And how when you talked to her last, does she know what's going on now? I mean, maybe you see you haven't talked to her, but you have sent messages to her. You were telling me about that
Yeah.
earlier.
Oh yes, most definitely. We every day. I mean, I get mail from her like 2 3 times a week, and we email her through the JPay application. My wife JPays her, I JPay her, and tonight we will be JPaying her about. I mean, I'm pretty sure a bunch of people message email her and tell her the news, and I mean, especially this week. So there's a bunch of people out there sending her emails and JPays telling her about everything that's been going on. So yeah, she'll be hearing from us tomorrow morning. Our JPays they do get there overnight. So as long as we write tonight, she'll receive it tomorrow morning
Oh,
or
okay.
afternoon or so.
And someone here is asking, do you have a Cash App? People want to help you out with some gas money. Gas money is crazy right now,
Yeah.
or anything for your travel expense.
Yeah.
People, if they want to pitch in.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, there's and I really like to refer people to the GoFundMe page, because I mean, especially right now, how everybody is money has been. I mean, we all know money is the root of all evil, and people have been like, oh, about me receiving funds and whatnot. But I mean, I always refer people to the GoFundMe page. But a lot of people also have reached out to me and asked about sending money to funds to my mother, and of course, I mean, any funds that they send to me, my mother's gonna get them. Every single penny. I mean, or she'll ask me to get her books or order an econ package or order her, just do certain things with her money that people do provide for her. So, but as per funds for us, I mean, like I said, the GoFundMe page is there. But if y'all feel comfortable, I mean, we could work
What
something
what
out through
what is
that.
the? Can you send me the GoFundMe page, or what is the page?
So I mean, the GoFundMe page, it'll be my wife says she'll get
Okay,
it to you.
okay.
John,
I'll put that out there afterwards.
John, can you explain to people that because only the people on her visitation list can send her money?
Yes, that's another big issue, and that's the reason why earlier when I said people call me and send me the money, or even they'll write my mother, and my mother would tell them get in contact with my son, and she'll give them my number or whatnot, and the reason being is there's only 10 visitors on her visitors list, and those are the only ones that can actually support her or send her any funds or send
That's
her
correct.
e-com orders, and of course visitation as well. Anybody could write her or anything like that, but as per money, they're strict on that. So only the 10 individuals that are on her visitor list could send her the funds.
Oh, I
See, a
see.
lot of folks don't understand that, and they would try to send money to her. So that's
Yes,
why I wanted you to explain that.
yes, yeah, and I mean they just recently got strict on that. Maybe a few years back they were not like that before. But of course there's a lot of
Yeah, they
bad things
stopped it
going on.
about 3 years ago.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. So yeah, not anybody could just send her the funds, and
Hmm.
but like I said, I mean, she usually whenever they write her and they tell her they want to help her out, she always gives them my number, and most
Hmm.
of the time these people will contact me and send me like a screenshot of a letter that my mother sent to them, or just reaching out and saying they're sending money from my mother, and of course, like I said, every single dollar she'll receive it.
Well,
That's
you've
awesome.
been faithful, honey.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's for my mother. I mean, and I like I say to everybody, I mean, I just do for her because I know the same. She would do the same for me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Veronica
I
says
have a real quick one to tell you, John, that I've not shared with you. Whenever I first went to visit your mom, whenever I got on the state appeal,
Uh-huh.
she said, "You watch my John. My John's going to do it right. You
mm,
watch my John."
Yeah, and that's something we've talked about before. I mean, because I shared this actually with Manny earlier, and we've asked each other similar questions, and I mean, me and my mother we're just so close. We're like best friends, you know, and we I mean, of course, she doesn't love me more than the others. She's just she loves us equally, but I mean, there's always gonna be that
Y'all have a real close
bondage.
bond. Yes, you
yeah.
Yes.
do. Because you were the first one that she talked about when I first met her.
Okay. Yes, and what helps me out is I know she stresses me out a lot because she knows the history of mine, and she knows um that I am hurt for her, and I mean, just like I said earlier, the bondage that we have is just, I mean, it's she feels the pain, so when I hurt she hurts, when she hurts I'm gonna hurt, you know. So
Yeah.
Sure.
So
she's
so
go ahead.
let me ask you, how many messages does she get on this thing, like a day? Because the question is, can anyone write to her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody could write to her, and something about the JPay application. Like when you do write to her on the JPay application, many people have these problems because when they write to her, they need to include their address on the JPay letter that they send to her, because most she receives a lot of JPays from people supporters, and she would love to write them back, but they never put their address and information on there. So when they do send it, they will have to, like, maybe at the end of the letter, or they could put the name and the address or PO box, whatever, the zip
Mm.
code and whatnot. Yeah, because I know whenever you register for the JPay, they will ask you for your address, but it won't pop up on her side when she receives the letters.
Oh,
So
I see. Okay.
yes,
So people assume the address is on there because they have to put it when they get into the app.
yes, sir, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Now, without going into detail, we know it's rough with some of the other family. You guys are not all on the same page. How has that been for you, and how is that for your mom, knowing that there's a division there?
You know, it's really sad because my siblings and us, I mean us, period. I mean, growing up, we before I moved on in life, we were just a strong family with one another. I mean, we were close to each other. Um, I mean, we were there for each other. I mean, we were just, I mean, being the poor people that we were, we just, I mean, the love that we have for each other, just knowing that we were going through the same things, knowing we dealt with the same mother and stepfather and or their father as well. I mean,
Hmm.
we knew we had to be strong for one another, and I mean, we were really good with each other before all of this happened, you know. And I mean, even most recently, I mean, it's just I mean, I wish my siblings and us could be getting along, because that's what my mother wants, and that's what she really really desires. You know, like for us to get along. And I mean, even though we have our differences, just like I shared with you earlier, I love my siblings. I love my brother, from Renee, Richard, Bobby, Gabriel, Gianna, Sarah, Mariah, my two little twin brothers, Daniela, Melissa, Selena, Alex. I love them all. There, I love. I mean, even Alexandra. I mean, she was my favorite sister, my best sister. She could tell you this too. And but I mean, it's just sometimes we gotta face the reality, the truth, and nothing could take the love that I have for them. I mean, I will never say I hate them, or I will never say you know, I love my siblings. I love them, and I mean, I wish we could be getting along today, and I wish we could all go to see my mother and just make her happy. You know, I mean, the last time I did take my sister Melissa Lucio, and my brother Bobby, and we actually all three got to get inside the visitation room, and she was surprised because she hadn't seen any of her children.
Yeah.
Three of her children at the same time. So that was just, and I gave the floor to them basically because I had already seen my mother, and we were just having a bunch of fun and joking around and laughing, and it was just an amazing visit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
John, does she still have that sweet smile and disposition?
Stop.
Yeah, she does. Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
I love her.
Yes, my mother has always had that smile. I mean, she's she's had that big old smile forever. She still has it.
Yeah.
Good.
So have all the kids been able before they got to the point where it was restricted? Did everybody get a chance to go and see her?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Did everyone get a chance to go and actually see her when they were able to, or did that not happen?
He's talking about the kids.
Yeah,
no.
your brothers and sisters.
No. So once again with the TDC regulations, nobody under the age of 18 are allowed to visit my mother. So as they were younger, they were not, and most recently, my siblings have just reached that age, and so they are now able to go into the facility. But of course, they were all young, and past 10 years they were underage, so they were not able to attend the visitation. But as per my sister Daniela and Melissa, no, they hadn't.
Yeah. And how do you handle that? Again, I don't want to pinpoint one things or get into specifics, but when you hear some of the things that some of your siblings are saying, and you're like, man, what's going on? I mean, how do you handle that in your head and just kind of not let that get to you? Because there's a lot of back and forth and even some finger pointing. And my whole thing was, you know what? Forget the finger pointing. Let's just try to save Melissa right now and get her away from that area. And whatever happens after the fact, well, that's for a different time.
Yeah, and that was going on for a minute, and I look back at it and I feel like I regret going back and forth with them. I should have been the bigger man, the better man a long time ago, and just like not acknowledge them, But I did, and I regret it. Today, I look back at it and it's like, man, I had these sick days, sick weeks, where I was just not focused. I was just out of energy for those distractions. It just took a bunch of energy from me. So I didn't. And now today is like, I mean, I don't acknowledge them. I don't want to argue with nobody. That's not my intentions today. When I say nobody, I mean nobody. I have a ton of vision. I have my priority and my fight, and my main fight is for my mother. So I don't need no other side fights, because it's just gonna take my energy, and I don't need that. I need all my energy right now for my mother. So
yeah, you got enough going on. You're right. You got to put a lot of stuff aside, and hopefully at some point they can do the same. And just let's try to get mom out. Right.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Lynn, do you have anything else for them?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, anything you want to say? People have been sending you prayers here, and they're praying for you and your mom. Everybody would love to hear from you before we let you go.
Yeah, I see that. I just want to say thank you to everybody. I mean, complete strangers, and it's I find that amazing because I mean, I would have never expected like the support, this much support to have came forward. especially how, I mean, we got a bunch of people just speaking negative about my mother, but they really don't know too much of the inside. You know, they don't really know, and it's hard to just share with the world about it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, I mean, I kind of stayed away uh, from media, so I don't have to be weakened up. And I mean, I now is not the time for me to be weak at all. So I mean, seeing media and seeing all the negativity was just draining me mentally, physically, and but as per the supporters, I mean, my mother is very grateful, and she wishes she could like let the world know. And she does send letters, and they actually post them on her free Melissa Lucio page, and she just thanks the world and for being supportive towards her, towards us as well, the many supporters that do donate to the GoFundMe page, and there's been a couple of people as well, a few people that have actually donated personally to us, you know, and that's been very supportive as well. And we're thankful for it. My mother's grateful for it as well. And I mean, hopefully one day she comes home. That the day she does come home, she's a very well cook. She's a very good cook. So you know, one day she's gonna come out here and she's gonna have to cook for everybody. And she makes them tortillas, and I ain't talking about the ones you put in the microwave or on the sartén. She makes them out of her with her hands and the dough and all the extra stuff. So
homemade.
Yes, the homemade tortillas, sir.
Yeah. I hope that happens. I hope she walks in that kitchen one morning and she's.
Manny, can I address someone that made a comment?
Yes, absolutely.
Hang 10, you ask if, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that no lawyer in the appeal? When I speak of no lawyer, I'm talking that Margaret Schmucker that I worked for during the state and federal appeal.
Oh, yeah. This is a comment here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then you say no lawyer in appeal has ever used the Morton Act. Am I correct? Okay.
Yeah. I'm talking about during the state and federal appeal that I worked. Margaret Schmucker didn't use it. Hey, Michelle.
Okay. John's wife, everybody.
Because Michael Morton had not come into existence at that time.
Right. Absolutely right. All right. Thank you for clearing that up. Listen, John, I'll let you get about your evening. I know you had a full day today, and some issues came up, and you got a weekend. What do you got going on this weekend too, right? You guys are headed out of town.
Yes. Actually, we are heading to San Antonio tomorrow, maybe before 3 or at 3. We'll be heading out there to be there for Saturday morning's rally, and we'll be out there in Austin, Texas as well. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, to me, everything's already going well. I mean, I see all the positivity. We just recently seen about an hour or 2 hours ago, more than half of the representatives of at the Capitol have signed the paper, and I'm more than sure more will come forward. You know, I mean, it takes a lot. You know what I'm saying, for the light, for the darkness to be revealed, but the light's gonna be exposed. It's gonna expose it all.
Yeah, real quick before you go, yesterday you got a chance to speak with Mr. Science.
Yes.
And how did that go?
That was amazing. He was actually cooperative, and I really liked that. He is actually the one that many of us have been trying to reach out to, and of course he doesn't. At the beginning, he kind of stepped into the office and back into the building. So I asked the officer to ask him if he could speak with me, and he said for me to set up a meeting. I said I call you every day, you know, to try to talk to you, and I give nothing but voicemails. I don't even get to hear a word from you know, I just hear the operator, and so he's like, well, they said just for you to set up a meeting. And I said, well, how do I do that? Then I walked away, and he ends up walking out, being escorted to his vehicle. So I asked him if I could have a word with him. And he's like, yeah, walk with me, you know? So I did ask him. I mean, I basically spoke with him about the meeting that they had with the lawyers and the legal team and the pro board of pardons, and about the 4 jurors that came forward. And and he said that before I spoke with him, I actually spoke with Peter Gilman, and they said that it had been in the air. So I guess it had already been discussed in the courthouse. So when I spoke up to Louis Saenz as well, that he says yes, that he was aware of it, and it's something new that just popped up. So he hadn't really talked about it. But I asked him if he could just please reconsider my mother's you know, case and look into it, because I mean what his thing was that he highly honored the 12 jurors that made the selection on my mother. So I told him, I mean, now 4 of them coming forward and saying they regret or they want to basically support my mother's behalf. And he's like, yes, sir. And he agreed and he understood. And he said, I told him I was fighting for my mother. I didn't want to have her executed. And he says he understands my situation and that he's going to look into it, and that there will be the response, I guess, before April 12th or something like that. So, I mean, I really hope he does consider this. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's seen all the moves being done as well. So, I mean, I believe deep in his heart, he will make something happen as well. I mean, because he has that right to uplift that warrant that they say.
John,
so. Yes, ma'am.
Remember one of the things I told you is pray for your enemies?
Yes, most definitely. That's what we got to do.
That's what we got to do is pray for the enemy.
Yes, very true.
That's awesome.
And I shared that with Manny earlier. We got to just love them and kill them with compassion. You know, I mean, they don't
exactly.
You know, I mean, we can't allow them to get under our skin, and I mean, we just got to love them. And I mean, that's the solution.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Abraham. Yeah, sorry, I don't have the video queued up, but I did play it earlier. I did post it a couple times, I think, where you met Mr. Science out there, and it seems like you guys were having a good conversation. So, anything you want to say? Anything you want to say to everybody before you take off? And this will be where we'll let you go after this.
Who's that? Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
you
I'm sorry.
or your wife even. You know, we haven't heard from Michelle.
Yeah. I'll let my wife close it. Okay, give me.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, John. Hey, Michelle.
Hello.
Taking care of the man there.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, all we want to do is, I mean, like he said, you know, just give everybody, you know, thank you and you know, thank you for all the support and the love that y'all are showing, you know, to the family, to my mother-in-law, and we really appreciate it all. Just, you know, I mean, we're just trying to do what we can for her, you know, and as much as we can for her, you know. So, and we're gonna be around. We're gonna ride this out with her till the end, you know. Yes. And I mean, we're waiting patiently for her.
You got a lot of people pulling for you guys.
Yes, I think, yes, and we appreciate all the, like we said, all the love and the support. You know, messages from everybody. You know, and I mean, it really, you know, it really brings up our spirits when we get, you know, a lot of uplifting, you know, messages and, you know, prayers from everybody. You know, we need them. They go a long ways. We need them.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it again. I'll say it, you know, please consider, if you're giving a cash app, there are people who want to give you like cash directly for your trip or for gas money or whatever.
Yeah. It's very expensive. Actually, right now, they're actually working on our vehicle right now. So it broke down on us while we were in Brownsville.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I heard about that.
After we left the Rudy's, we got stranded.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So Abe put our SUV on a tow truck and towed it all the way back home.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Right now we're actually carless, but we'll be good. You know.
All right. Well, as soon as you get offline, get that to me. And
yes, I will. I'll definitely do that. Mm-hmm. Y'all have a good night.
Awesome. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us, John. Bye. Thank you. I'll be in touch, John. All right. Take care, man. God bless.
Bye, guys.
God bless. Bye. Thank you.
Oh man, that was awesome. You know, I pray that they get peace and strength to just get by every day. I can't imagine just the stress of this being on your mind 24/7, and you can't do anything about it. You have to wait on things to happen.
Manny, I want you to think about, I don't know if you've ever had it in your family, but you have a loved one that's in the hospital and they're in ICU, and you know that their days are numbered and there's not a dadgum thing you can do.
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably 1,000, 1,000,000 times worse because of the fact that no medicine can do this. You know, the legal team is the doctor.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the legal team is doing the very best that they can under the circumstances, you know, but heck yeah. I mean, even if you have a loved one in a hospital dying, you know, it's, you know, it's stressful. It's got to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't, and then, you know, like you said, to top it off, you can't just call her, you know, even though these are could be like the last days. You think they would allow phone calls and talk whenever you want to, that kind of thing, and instead they've made it more restrictive.
Oh, a lot more restrictive. Because see, used to up until the COVID, like if you traveled over 300 miles to see a loved one in prison, you were given 4-hour visitations versus the 2.
Oh, okay. And that's all changed.
Yes, that's why I was asking him the questions that I was, so that he could personally say, tell people what what he's going through, because I knew that it had changed, but I wanted it to come from John.
Yeah, you know what? Let's see if I can get this to. Let me see. Abraham, I'm going to send you a link if you want to jump on. And you said you got Charles there. Do you know Charles? LinMarie?
I don't think so. But hey, I'm up to meeting anybody. I don't bite.
Let's see if they're able to jump on. Abraham, I sent you the link to Messenger. Oh yeah. Oh, somebody was asking about what's going on in San Antonio. Yeah, they're going to be in San Antonio Saturday. Well, you know what? John's gonna let's see if Abraham gets online, and we'll clear up that whole. Because I know they're gonna do San Antonio and Austin. So Abraham, if you get that, see if you can link in real quick. Jen, I'll try to get that for you. Okay. Oh, yep. Here we go. Look at that.
Antonio and Austin.
Abraham's good.
You get that? See if you can.
Can you hear me? Lower that. You got to cut the volume on that thing. Yeah.
Jen, I'll try to get that for you. Okay.
You got to kill the volume. Kill the volume.
Antonio and
got the feedback.
Abraham's good. You get that? See if you can.
The headset.
You got to cut the volume on that. Jen, I'll try to get that for you. Okay.
You got to kill the volume. Kill the volume. There you go. Don't get your mic on. You got to activate your mic. Can you hear us? You can hear us, right? Yeah, your mic is not working. Your mic is not on. No. You can hear? Yeah, your mic is not working. Your mic is not on.
Maybe this is it.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. I've never used that button before.
Abraham, welcome. Glad you could jump on. We just had John on. I'm sure you knew that already.
Yes.
We got Charlie. Who's the gentleman to your right there?
That's. I've never used that button before.
You got to lower the volume.
That's Charles Keith. You know what? I'm watching. Here.
If you're watching it on a different monitor, yeah, you gotta kill that one. You gotta lower the volume.
That's Charles Keith. You know what? I'm watching. Here. There we go. Try it now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, much better.
Okay.
Okay, so tell us who you are for those of our fans who don't know who you are.
Can you say something and have them respond?
My name's Charles Keith. I'm from Canton, Ohio. I had a brother that was on death row myself back in 1994 for a crime that he did not commit. There was no evidence, no DNA, basically the same thing that's going on with the Lucio family. So when people say, you have no idea what the Lucio family's going through, I do. I've been going through this for 30 years. My brother went within 13 days of being executed. His sentence was commuted to life without parole based on an innocent claim by then Governor Ted Strickland. So I've had the chance to fight the death penalty for 16 years and life without parole for the last 12. So,
Yikes.
I do know the advantage that I like to see with the Lucio family is that they have the support of the people. In 94, the death penalty wasn't that popular. There wasn't a lot of organizations. There wasn't a lot of rally around the flag boys. There wasn't a lot of people coming to bring you home, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it was just me and my brother, but I learned so much out there by myself. And now I'm the impacted communities liaison for death penalty action. And I try to lend my expertise and what I've learned as a regular citizen. I call myself a professional citizen because I do understand. I do understand the corruption. I do understand all the components of a case that's gone wrong.
Yeah.
I could sit here and talk to you for hours, maybe even longer than that.
So what's going through? What's a typical day like for John? I mean, being in this position he's at right now.
Stress. You're the family decision maker, and not too many people want to do that. They want to be the family leader, and everybody falls in line. But now he's that family decision maker. So his head probably feels about this big. And everybody's looking at him. What's going on? What's going to happen? What do you think? And he's coming on. He's being interviewed. He's being questioned. And you're not accustomed to that type of life. That's a celebrity type life. And to know that you're caught up in a movie, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would seem like a never-ending nightmare.
Yeah.
And what makes it all worse, like I just said a few minutes ago, is that no contact, not even a phone. Well, in his case, not even a phone call. The phone calls are history now.
It was quoted from a judge to say that people on death row, they don't have people that love them that much. And there may be some people there that are like that, but not everyone. My brother was very much loved. Melissa Lucio, very much loved. And there's been some other cases where I saw a lot of love. And that's what makes people rally around. And the family, that's what gives them strength. Because right now, John Lucio is fighting out of the love of his heart and everything he has to save his mother. So that love connection is more powerful. And it says love conquers all.
And it's got to be rough. It adds more against them when you got family that's divided.
Well, you got to understand. You're looking at personalities. These were probably people who've been fighting since they were kids. Sibling rivalries. Little small spats. The only reason why it's a big deal now, your whole life and your family's being thrown out there to the world. This is a capital murder case, so all eyes on me. The cameras are on me. Facebook's on me. And that's what it is. All that little family stuff, because it's a capital murder case. It's been heightened and it's got thrown out there into the news and media. But that kind of stuff happens in every family.
Right. Now, let me switch over to Abraham and ask him a couple things real quick. Here we got, thank you for all you're doing. For Melissa, she deserves a fair trial. God bless you all. Thank you, Rosina. So, Abraham, tell us what's been going on today media-wise. Who's been around and who's been talking to you or wanting to talk to you guys? And people want to know what your schedule is for San Antonio and Austin.
Well, I'll tell you, with the media, there have been people that have been very, very patient. Today we had NBC's Telemundo. We've been working on getting them together with the guy came all the way from Miami. For weeks, we've been plotting this opportunity for them to sit down with members of the family and do more deep interviews, and that's what they did today. Televisa from Mexico popped across the border yesterday and spoke with us. They were there, and we're going to see what happens tomorrow, because tomorrow we're having a press conference and or an advisory. Ed Stapleton is going to share about his affidavit on the disparity of sentencing between Richard Alvarez and Melissa Lucio. He's also going to expand upon the corruption that emanates from the only two people getting anything out of this were Armando Villalobos and Peter Gilman. And he's going to explain that. So we've heard a lot about the evidence about why there was no murder and about why this is not a crime that has to be punished at all. We've heard all kinds of evidence about that, but nobody's talking about the why until Ed Stapleton tomorrow morning. That's at 10 o'clock. And Manny, you're going to be there, right?
Yeah, I will be there. That's at the courthouse, right?
I'm looking forward to not having to live stream it myself, because you're going to be there and I'm going to share your feed around, right? So thank God for that. And thank you also. We really appreciate, I got to tell everybody, if you didn't see it, when the first interview Manny did was with Sabrina Van Tassel, the director of the film. And he was really, really skeptical and asking all kinds of questions and going at it from every other angle. But at the end, he said, I'm convinced. And ever
Yep.
since, he has been showing up and making sure other people have voices, and hearing from, the siblings that are less happy about Melissa's behavior, and we don't have to get into all that. Bottom line is, Manny, you put on a good. You've shown up and helped people understand this case from every angle. And now tomorrow is the last angle. It's like this is part of what our group is called Death Penalty Action. We like to say we fill the gaps. We pop in when doing the things where nobody else was doing. And one of the things that nobody else was doing was running a campaign for the Lucio family. So we've taken them all over the state. We've had, this is, I think, our 5th trip here since since whatever the first one was, which was early. I was supposed to come, and then my son got a COVID diagnosis, and I had to quarantine for a week.
Oh no!
Then I came, but anyway, so that's what we've been doing. And tomorrow is going to be, yesterday was the amazing moment with Louis Sines.
Yeah.
And the thing I want to tell people about that, John saw him, and he's walking down the sidewalk, and he's going up the stairs into the building, and John saw him as he was still on the sidewalk. He caught up to him and asked for a meeting, right? And they said, call our secretary and all that. And they went in, and John was standing outside. It's a covered, I don't know what you would call it, porch sort of thing. And the constable came out, who was there inside. He came out, he was talking to John, and I heard him say this. He said, man, if I was in your situation, I'd be doing exactly what you're doing. And within 30 seconds after he said that, out comes Louis Sines again. And that's where the video picks up, because I saw that and I just clicked it on, and boom.
Yeah.
And the only trick was just getting around in front of them without running or being threatening in any way. And but we caught the important part, and that's my voice at the end saying, all we want is watch the film and reinvestigate the case.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was amazing. So we'll see what happens with tomorrow with Ed Stapleton, and then we're all off to San Antonio, where you can find, sanantonio.org/Chavez March is the webpage. It's not our event. We're showing up at their event, but we're invited by BAAACK 19 and the foundation in San Antonio. We're very grateful for this opportunity, and we're all looking forward to seeing Paul Chavez, Cesar Chavez's son, who was my boss at one point. He was the chair. I think he's still the chair. But when I was the assistant to the director of the Chavez Foundation, the Cesar E. Chavez Foundation, from as part of the farm worker movement, created after Cesar died to deal with all the communities, recognizing Cesar's legacy and all that. I was on staff there. Paul was on the board. And that's how I knew each other. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's the Grand Marshal, and we're hoping that the family gets a chance to spend a few minutes with them before the march starts up. We'll see how it goes. So so we're gathering. If you look on that webpage, sanantonio.org/Chavez March, you can see where the start of the march is, and you can park over by the Alamo Dome and take a free shuttle over to the start of the march, and then you end up back where your car is. We're asking people to gather with us by like 9 a.m. and come on, and then we'll all march together. We should have a pretty good contingent, and from there we'll go on to Austin, where we're gathering at 11th and Congress on Sunday at 2 p.m. and Monday at 10 a.m. And we'll share some words, and then we'll go over on Sunday to the governor's mansion and make our plea. And we'll go on Monday morning, and make our plea, both in a prayerful and loving and, just low key is, low key it may not always be, but it's going to be prayerful. Okay, and we're going to
Yeah.
hear from important voices. So that's the plan. We're inviting anybody who wants to come. We have T-shirts and signs, and we've also got. I just picked up another 40,000. But there's another thing that Manny did for us, right? He connected us with a printer that doubled the amount of brochures as we got the last time for the same money, which is amazing. So I got 40,000 flyers to hand out to people. We're going to be giving stacks of those to people who take them back and door knock, walk down the street, knock on doors. Hey, have you heard about this case? Here, watch the film. Call.
And it's English and Spanish, right? Well, front and back.
This one was only English.
This one's only English. Okay.
Yeah, somehow.
The ones you gave me, I think, were Spanish.
Well, the one that we were using here in Cameron County, these are designed for, well, actually, they're for everybody. And, but this one, for whatever reason, the file that got to them was just the English on both sides. But it's this is not it. This is the old one that we had for Cameron County in advance of when we were showing the film for free on March 7th and 8th. And we were getting these, got about 20,000 of these out in the county. And
I would like to give that shout out to Border Press here in Brownsville. They were able to, they actually have the printing facility, and they were actually able to order paper and get things done like 24 hours basically. And they've got 40,000 flyers. And so that was amazing. I do want to give a special shout out to Border Press. Thank you for helping out so much.
Yes, Border Press.
There you go. Yep, they're on Price, just off of International.
Yes,
that's them. It's the Champion family.
Good enough there. Everybody got it? Yep. Border Press.
The last name is Champion. The Champion family here in Brownsville. They came through in a clutch, and I'm glad they were able to.
Well, and I'm sorry I've forgotten her name. The woman that worked with me, an older woman, and she said that they printed for Science himself.
Yeah.
And now they understand. They're going to give a call. And what was amazing, she had what was that newspaper?
LV. That was LV.
She had saved me a copy of the newspaper from yesterday. If you didn't see this. This is what we do. We add images. We do, things that get their picture taken, and they go on to illustrate the big story about whatever the big news is. And the big news yesterday was the clemency petition was filed, and of course, here's the pictures from us illustrating that. That's a big part of. I mean, just Google the death penalty and. If they're showing any kind of action, 9 times out of 10, well, protest action, I should say, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be something that we help produce. That's what death penalty action does.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys, I mean, it's a good thing they have you guys stepped in to help them, guide them in what should be done, who you should talk to, and where you got to be, and doing all that. That's not easy for someone who doesn't know what should be done. That's not easy.
They knew what needed to be done. All they needed was just somebody to just, say, hey, we're going to do it, and then just kind of pave the way. But we know how to call the media and tell them, hey, we're going to be at this place at this time. This has never really been an easier, well, I guess, this has been one of the easiest organizing jobs I've ever had, because, the people are just, some people have seen the film already. You don't have to talk to them. You don't need any convincing. It's you hear people come up and they say, I saw the film. I can't believe this. What can I do? Where's the petition? Who do I call? And that's what we tell people. And that's the one failure with the film has been, in my view, has been in getting the distributors to actually. They should add a PS to it or something, and there should be on the web page where the film is. And by the way, here's freemelissalucio.org, and you should click through. So we've asked for that, and it'd be nice if they did that. But millions of people have seen the film, and that's why we've been working to really spread that message. That's the family's message. Watch the film, and call the district attorney, the one person in the whole world who has the unilateral power to stop this execution. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're going to be in Austin. We're going to be in San Antonio, and then people are starting to set up screenings of the film, and anybody can just gather and do a visibility action. If you can come to Austin, there's already some stashes of signs and things around the state. I don't know what's been used, but I know if you come to Austin, we'll send you back with a stack of 10 or 15 signs, and then you can have a visibility action in your community. Just get a group of people together and stand on the sidewalk. That's what was where's that other newspaper?
And I do got some of these. I do got a handful of these. I don't know how many more you can get to me if somebody does want. You don't have to donate, but if you're able to, we'll get you one of these. We'll get you one of these anyway. But if you're able
you're gonna have to find us. I mean, the money is not endless, sadly.
Yeah.
We need a game changer. I'll tell you what, if money was no object, it would look a whole lot different. But we're still spending a fair amount and creating the things, the tools that are needed. You just got to encounter us to get them at this point.
Here's a question. She's just barely arriving at the feed. She wasn't able to watch the whole thing. What is the goal for Melissa if she's not sentenced to death? The ultimate goal is release, right?
Well, that's why our campaign is called Free Melissa Lucio.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, what's unclear to me, and maybe somebody else knows that can tell us, I'm not sure if the governor can commute to time served, that would be like the easiest path. Right.
Yeah.
Not having to go back through any kind of court proceedings, just commute her sentence, admit that we made a mistake, compensate her properly, and at least we've done our best to heal the situation. Right. There still needs to be other steps that are going to be taken. That's what's exciting about the coalition of legislators. More than half of the Texas legislature today is calling for her to be commuted, and that's just like unexpected, unheard of. But the point is being made over and over again that how did we get here? And if this is, and what do we have to do to keep it from happening again? And people are actually seriously asking that question, which is a shift. It's one thing you get 2 or 3 people that are always the weirdos that put in the bill to abolish the death penalty and that sort of thing. And suddenly lots of people are talking about this kind of change. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. One thing I am interested in, it'd be nice to pull it off. If you can tell me how to do it, so I can jump in and do a little more. It'd be nice to screen this film somewhere in the city here, at the theaters that are here, private.
Somebody has to step up and set it up.
Yeah.
But we have a how-to right on the webpage, freemelissalucio.org. So step by step, written by Sandra Jonas, who just had a showing. I think it was last Sunday in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
So, she's been pretty amazing. And she's actually very close with Melissa Lucio. She is one of her visitors who actually goes and sees her in person. And she's one of the 5 witnesses that Melissa has listed as to witness her execution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be, God forbid we get to that. And if we get to that, despite all of this amazing pressure that's been organized, I mean, what the Innocence Project and all of them who've been working on the stuff we've seen this week have done is incredible. It's massive amount of organizing. It's the vital stuff that needs to be done. And we're just glad to be able to add what we've added, which is frankly a bunch of front page news stories all over the state repeatedly for the last 2 months. And that's what, all of this is just telling a story and putting these people who have suffered through this up front as the spokesman. I've said more words on this campaign in this case today than I have in the last 2 months, because it's really all about putting the people who are the voices of experience out in front.
Yeah, and there is a critic out there. I'm not going to get into names or what the details are, but they're accusing of, I'm just doing this for the popularity and to get likes and to get whatever.
Who, you?
Oh, yeah. And that is not freaking true whatsoever. This is not about popularity. This is about freeing somebody who's actually innocent, a life or death matter. And then, you know what? Now I'm so involved in this that right after that, I'm sure there's something else going on or someone else that needs help.
Well, the next
And it's time to
execution-
bring things to light.
The next
That's what I'm in this for. That's what I'm in this for.
Yes. I'll tell you what, you know, I used to support the death penalty, and it's coming to understand that this sort of thing happens, but not just this. You know, the next guy set to be executed in Texas, and we're getting ready to, the U.S. Supreme Court just this morning said allow the resumption of executions here in Texas. There had been a halt because a guy named Ramirez had asked that his Christian pastor be allowed to pray out loud.
Oh yeah, so that's the case. That's the case where the person on death row who's going to be executed wants his clergy to be in the room with him, where he's getting
but in the room has been possible.
Okay,
it's the touching, the hands-on, laying hands.
Right. He wants to be able to grab his or hold his foot, his ankle, his leg somewhere in that area, he wants to feel that touch.
What's a spiritual thing,
yeah,
right? And praying out loud. So those are the two issues: is can the pastor, the clergy, speak out loud, and can they touch the prisoner? And the Supreme Court decided that yes, they can. So now Texas gets to rewrite its protocol to allow that, which, if you think about it, should take about 10 minutes, and then off they go.
Yeah,
and so there's 8 people currently with paused execution dates, and these are mostly guilty people of what they were convicted of. And you know, Melissa has an innocence claim. There was a guy who was supposed to be executed on the 8th, who had nobody been talking about it, but it turns out the Odessa police actually in the weeks before handed over evidence that had been withheld for years and years and years. And suddenly now we thought there were no issues to raise in this case. We did because nobody was talking about it. Turns out the guy might be innocent, actually certifiably DNA tested innocent.
Holy crap.
And they were sitting on that evidence all this time. That's criminal, Manny.
Yeah.
That's attempted murder. And we need to start holding prosecutors who lie and hide evidence accountable, just like like Armando Villalobos, right? So he's been held accountable, but not for Melissa Lucio. Anyway.
That's for another.
Well, we're going to be talking about that in the morning, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. approximately, right here on this station.
Definitely 10 a.m. Tune in for that. I will be there, and I am going to stream that sucker, and we'll see. More good news coming, I hope.
Yeah. So, but Manny, we've got a lot of work to do to get ready for tomorrow, and we need to get a little bit of sleep. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to share. Everybody, please, freemelissalucio.org. Tell people, call the governor, call the board of parties. Well, everybody to call is right there on that webpage, freemelissalucio.org.
Yep, absolutely. I'll flash that later.
And
you have a good night, Abraham, Charles.
And we're grateful to be on with you, Lynn. Thank you for your leadership. You know, your voice is so powerful.
Yeah, Lynn's a favorite. Lynn's a favorite. Got to say that much. All right, guys. You have a great night, and we'll be in touch tomorrow.
See you
tomorrow. Good night, guys. That was awesome. A lot of good things happening. I don't know. It's just a good vibe. I hope. It seems like everything's maybe. See, I don't want to jinx it, right? I don't want to jinx it, but it just feels good, you know.
We can just be optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we covered everything. Anything else you wanted to cover? Or what's your day been like today? I know for us it was long, but what do you guys going on?
I had an awesome day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pulled a Quilts for Vets Day. You know, that's my nonprofit. And this morning we had coffee with about 70 veterans up in Bryan, Texas. And we were able to give away 3 quilts to World War II veterans, as well as challenge coins. We had lunch with two of the veterans. Then I got to go see 2 more of my favorite veterans. One is a female that's 100 years old, And then we went and gave another quilt. So
Oh,
it was a pretty cool day.
and I think I got photos.
I think I sent you some just for the heck of it.
I think you sent me some photos here. Here, let me pop these up here real quick.
Yeah, it was a really, really nice day. I don't take full days all the time to do Quilts for Vets stuff, but this was really a cool day.
I think I'm gonna do. What am I gonna do? I think it's easier if I download these and put them over here. So how many? How do you? So you make these? You make these yourself?
There's 10 of us that are making these. Yes,
Okay. How long does
we
it
can
take you to
always
make?
use
I'm gonna show
volunteers
these
to
in a
make
minute.
quilts. I mean, I can tell you that right now.
How long does it take you to make one of these? Like for example, there's one that's got the.
Depends on what it is and how big it is and things like that. 25 to 40 hours, maybe.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not something that we go down to Walmart and buy. Every one of our quilts are made. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. Um, you know, everybody kind of said, "Oh, the pandemic, it was horrible," and yes, it was in a lot of ways. But for us, we stayed busy, and had we not, we could not have taken 170 quilts to Pearl Harbor for that 80th anniversary last December.
Oh man, that had to be awesome. Hang on, I want to. Sorry, it's taking too long, guys. I'm gonna pop these up right now, and I'm gonna start with. Let me grab one of these. Now, for those who don't know, if you missed her last time, you've been an author to a few books, haven't you?
I have, yes, and in fact, 2 of the veterans that we saw today will be in my 3rd book about World War II. And that book will also include a friend of mine who is 85, I believe. And she was a 4-year-old when World War II broke out and she lived in Germany. So she'll be part of that also.
There you go. I'm just gonna pop one up here.
Yeah,
That's very
Mr.
nice.
Hutchinson.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. And you got a website for that? Is it can they connect through that through the Quilts for Vets? They can connect through your page.
Yeah, just it's Quilts, FORVETS.
Quilts for Vets. Let's see. Comments. Few more things here for you. They say thank you to Abraham and LinMarie. Charles, thank you. And is that the case from Bastrop or Brenham that turns out it was a boyfriend who was a cop that confessed to the murder of the woman outside HEB? I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. I think that came up a little while ago.
Yeah, that was the Rodney Reed case. And I will say to my dying day that the cop, Fennell, was guilty of killing Stacy Stites. And in fact, that cop later went to Williamson County, where the DA, that was the DA with Michael Morton.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, we got a nice big comment here. Freed, a question. I'm not someone who believes that we are to judge and put someone to death. However, I am someone who believes a person should be held accountable for their actions. The baby died because she was not protected by her mother. The one job as a mother she had. It's a choice to use drugs, a choice to ignore the abuse. You are great people attempting to save this woman. It's a wonderful thing what you're doing. I do hope she is saved. However, the woman needs to be accountable. And yeah, you know, the part of that we did talk about before is that, okay, if it's neglect that we're talking about here, you know, what normally would have been a sentence for neglect? And, you know, is that time served enough for already what she's served? Does that equate to time served if it gets dropped to neglect? But I don't know what the sentencing is for neglect or negligible.
2 to 20.
2 to 20.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I do want to encourage people is that when you get that jury summons, go. Go be part of the system, because without jurors and good jurors, then we don't have a good system.
Yeah. And be honest when you go to jury, please. Please. Point of no return says you're a lady determined to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. I
Nice.
appreciate you.
You reading the comments? I am actually. I skipped over a few here and there. You're very special, smart, intelligent lady. That is beautiful.
Oh, aren't y'all sweet?
A lot of compliments. A lot of people do love to hear you talk, and you know, I know people were hoping we got in more and deeper into another topic, but I
No,
don't see the
there's
value
no
in
need for it. And you know what, Manny? The other night, I was sitting here laughing my butt off. I said, I had a person tell me a long time ago that even bad publicity is still free publicity.
Right? I understood. Now, okay. So there is a talk about, well, she was neglected. The child was injured, but the child was also with a foster family, and things happened there as well. You can argue that could she have been hurt when she was in foster care, and then those injuries, they found out she was injured. Oh, let's give the if Melissa was such an abusive parent, why would they give the daughter back to her? That's one question. Is that not a valid question? People saying, "Oh, she's an abusive mom. She was an abusive person." If she was so abusive, why would CPS give the child back to her if they thought she was so abusive? Has that been brought up to you at all? Could those injuries have been done somewhere else?
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think the objective is to get her out and get her a fair trial. That's the only thing that I look at. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yep. Awesome show. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's see. Hello, everybody from Idaho. Hey, Idaho. Awesome. Anything you want to push or promote or close with, LinMarie? I'll give you the floor to whatever the heck you want to say.
Nope, I'm good.
Simple enough. I'm good. All right. Well, then we will call it a night with that. It's been very, very eventful day for myself.
Y'all pass a good evening.
Have a great night. LinMarie, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. We'll be in touch.
I got something to tell you tomorrow.
Yep, sure do. We'll talk tomorrow. LinMarie, I'll contact you tomorrow.
All right. Take care. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you, everyone. If there's anything I can pass along, and I mean this, from my heart, I'm not doing this for publicity. I'm not doing this to get the likes, to get the subscribers, for any of that stuff. You've been kind and you've been sending Cash App and stuff like that, and that helps. But I don't flash it on there every 5 minutes. That's not my thing. This thing. I'm invested in this now. Now this matters to me, and it's amazing what a little bit of involvement can do to someone's soul. So that's my purpose here, and everything else is a distant second. And there's going to be a lot of Melissa Lucio talk in the next few days and weeks to come. But we have to get the word out. If anybody wants to help with anything at all, send me a message, and we'll see what we can do. I'm going to try to get a screening of the movie at the theater. Maybe we can make that happen. I'll see if Abraham and the people from freemelissalucio.org can help out. Thank you all for hanging out. You guys have been wonderful as usual. Hope that please keep them in your prayers still. John needs a lot of prayers. Melissa does too, but John's here on the outside trying to keep it together, and I really feel for the guy. And I'll get that as soon as I get that Cash App when I do send it. If anybody wants to, pitch in for like somebody said, gas money or this and that, I will put it in the comments of this video. Thank you all again. Have a great night. And I'll be live tomorrow from the Cameron County Courthouse.